Hey, you're listening to Beyond the Battlefield. We are at episode 12, chapter 2, verse 12. And today, we pause. For just one verse. But it's the kind of verse that can make your entire world slow down. It sounds so simple, but hidden inside is something eternal.
Krishna says, never was there a time when I was not, nor you, nor these kings, and never will there be a time when we will not exist. So he's saying, I didn't suddenly start, you didn't suddenly appear, and we won't suddenly disappear either. We were always there. But here's the twist. He doesn't say it positively. He doesn't say we were always there. He says, we were never not there. And that is intentional.
Okay, wait. Why so complicated? Why say never not?
Because Krishna's not writing poetry. He's removing all doubt, all what ifs. It's like he's saying there has never been even a moment where you were not real. He isn't just reassuring, he's being absolute. So imagine this. You're a small wave in the ocean. You're playing with other waves. Proud of your size, jealous of a bigger one, laughing at a smaller one. And then you see rocks. You ask your buddy, what's that? He says, that's where waves go and crash. It's called dying. You freeze. Wait, die?
But the wave doesn't know. It's not just foam.
Right. The wave is made of water. Even when the foam breaks, the water goes back to the ocean. The wave was never separate. That's what Krishna is saying. Don't be scared. You're not your form. You're not your wave. You're the water.
So, live as the water, not the shape. So, okay, I get it emotionally. But in real life, we're still scared, right? People get scared of failure, of letting people down, of not being good enough, of losing everything they've built.
Exactly. And that's where Krishna's verse becomes real. Because Arjuna wasn't afraid of war. He was afraid of disappearing. He thought, if I don't do this right, if I kill these people, I'll lose who I am. And that fear, that's the fear every modern leader carries. Think about it. A startup founder worries, if this fails, what will I be? A manager asks, if I'm laid off, am I still worthy? A parent thinks, if I don't hold it all together, do I disappear? That's wave thinking.
Because we've all built our identity on our form.
Exactly. As Krishna says, you were never not there. That means, even before your success, you were there. Even after your failure, you will still be there. Even if no one claps, even if everyone leaves, you don't vanish. You are not your role. You are not your resume. You are not your headlines. You are the soul, the unshakable self. And that changes how you lead.
So instead of leading from fear, or ego, or panic, you lead from presence.
Presence, stillness, unbreakability. That's what Krishna is trying to awaken in Arjuna. He's not just saying fight. He's saying know who you are, then act.
So, anchor, let's start at the very beginning. If Krishna says, we were never not there, what's the very first thing we need to understand?
We begin with the simplest truth. First, Arjuna's fear is about form. He sees Bhishma, Drona's cousins, kings. He sees faces, bodies, relationships. He thinks if they die, they'll be gone forever. But he's looking only at the outer shell.
So he's seeing just the wave, not what it's made of.
Exactly. And that's where confusion begins. 2. Krishna is pointing to what's formless, not to name or role or personality. He's saying, they were never just that. We all carry something deeper, something unborn inside. 3. Even science confirms this. Energy can't be destroyed. A single grain of sand can't be wiped out, only changed.
So what Krishna says is spiritual truth. Modern science sees in physics.
Yes, just in different languages. 4. What we see can deceive us.
This part still blows my mind. You said once to me, we see stars that aren't even there?
Yes. Let's say you look up tonight and see a star twinkling. But the light you're seeing, it left that star 4 years ago. That's how long it took to reach your eyes. And that's just for the closest star. Some starlight takes hundreds or thousands of years.
So the star could have died long ago?
Exactly. But your eyes still see it. That's what Arjuna is doing. He's looking at Bhishma, Drona, his family, and he thinks, they are alive. I must protect them. But what he's seeing is only the surface. Just like starlight, it's outdated, illusory.
Wow. That means we can't fully trust even what seems obvious.
Right. What we see is never the full truth. And when our decisions are based on surface truth, they become fragile. 5. Trying to protect form is like guarding a sandcastle.
Okay. I love metaphors. Say more about this one.
You're on a beach. You build a perfect sandcastle. Towers, bridges, flags. You know the tide will come. But you tell yourself, maybe not today. Maybe I can block the water. You panic. You protect. You suffer. That's Arjuna.
He's trying to stop something that has to happen.
Yes, he's trying to save form. What's temporary? But Krishna doesn't mock him. He simply says, you can't save what was never permanent. That's compassion with clarity.
And it applies to everything, right? Jobs, titles, people, our own image.
All of it. When we try to protect what must change, we suffer. 6. Self-knowledge is the first requirement for real leadership. When you don't know who you truly are, you start building identity out of roles. I'm a manager. I'm a founder. I'm the smart one. I'm the strong one. But what happens when the role ends?
We collapse.
Yes, but Krishna is saying, you are not your role. You are not the wave. Leadership without self-knowledge is just performance. Leadership with self-knowledge is presence. Krishna is speaking from the ocean. Arjuna is crying like a wave.
So that's why this whole Gita is a long conversation?
Yes, because one is speaking from stillness, the other from panic. They're not arguing. They're just in two different states of awareness. 7. You can't see the eternal with your eyes. The eyes were made to see forms, but the self is formless. You can't see silence. You can only feel it. You can't see peace, but you know when it's there.
So the deeper truths aren't visible, they're recognizable.
Exactly. And that's what Krishna wants Arjuna and all of us to recognize. 8. Trying to preserve what's temporary will always create anxiety. It's simple. When we try to hold on to what must change, we suffer. Arjuna is trying to hold time in place, trying to stop life from unfolding. But change is part of the plan.
So pain begins when we want the wave to never crash.
Exactly. But waves aren't meant to stay, they're meant to move. 9. Krishna doesn't believe, he knows. Krishna isn't saying, I think we're eternal. He says, we were never not there. This is not hope. It's not theory. It's realization.
And that's why he's so still, so calm.
Exactly. Because when you know, you don't need to panic. 10. If you live as a wave, you'll always fear the rocks.
Because the wave thinks it will end.
Yes, it panics when it sees the rocks, but the water, it never fears, it simply flows.
That's powerful. Live as the water, not the shape.
11. The negative phrasing protects the purity of the truth.
And now, we return to where we began. That strange phrasing.
Yes, Krishna didn't say, we were always there. He said, there was never a time we were not there. Why? Because it removes all exceptions, all what ifs, no crack for fear to enter.
It's like a divine lock. Once you really hear it, the fear can't get in.
We've said a lot, but right now, you don't have to hold it all. Just one truth is enough. Take a breath. Let it flow all the way in and let it leave without fear. You don't need to remember every word. You don't need to figure it all out. Right now, just let your wave rest. Let it melt back into the ocean.
If you want, you can whisper this within yourself. I am not the role. I am not the fear. I am the one who watches it all. I was never not there. Let those words float in you, like a feather resting on water. No rush, no effort. Just presence. So anchor. We've gone deep into the soul, into the self. But how does this change the way I show up tomorrow? At work? In my team? In a pitch room?
Great question. Because wisdom is not just for quiet moments. It's meant to guide action, especially when stakes feel high. Let me offer a few shifts. 1. You're not your performance. That one sentence, you were never not there, tells you existed before your job, before your fame, before your followers. You exist beyond the feedback, beyond the headlines, beyond the good quarter or the bad one.
So if the outer wave crashes, I'm not gone?
Exactly. The water remains. You are the presence, not the product. 2. You're not your pitch, your valuation, or your to-do list. Too many entrepreneurs tie their self-worth to success. If this launch fails, I'm a failure. If I raise funding, then I matter. But Krishna's verse says, you always mattered before any of this started. And that knowing, it brings calm confidence, not arrogance, not insecurity. 3. You're not in control of the waves, but you can stay with the ocean. Markets change, investors back out, people leave, but if your identity isn't tied to what rises and falls, you stay centered.
So I can respond, not react?
Yes, because when you lead from eternal presence, you don't grab, you don't panic, you guide. You become a Krishna, not an Arjuna. 4. Real leaders lead from stillness, not noise. The best decisions don't come from stress. They come from that quiet, rooted clarity inside. Krishna didn't shout. He didn't rush. He reminded. You were never not there. That's the kind of leader the world needs now.
So even in the noise of business, even in the rush of growth, you can still be still?
You must be. That stillness is your strength. Because leadership isn't about control, it's about alignment with something deeper.
So, what began as just one verse became a journey back to who we are. Not the job title, not the emotion, not the face in the mirror, but the part of us that's never not been.
And that's the heart of it. The wave might fall, the form might fade, but the water never leaves. That's you. That's the self. That's the leader Krishna is trying to awaken in Arjuna and maybe in each of us.
So if you're in a tough place right now, uncertain, overwhelmed, scared of what might be lost, breathe and whisper these words to yourself. I was never not there. And I will never cease to be. Let it guide you through the noise. Let it remind you what matters. Next episode, we move to verse 13, where Krishna explains transformation, like childhood into adulthood, and how change itself is not loss, but evolution. It's a verse filled with hope, and we'll connect it to growing through identity shifts in life and leadership. Don't miss to check out our exclusive GPT companion link. BYB Interactive. It's your space to interact, explore more insights from the Gita, or just continue the conversation at your own pace. Until then, lead gently, live deeply, and remember, you were never not there.